Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we've been looking at the track Spit You Out by the Anix. Initially starting out as a band in 2001, eventually it would become a solo project for frontman Brandon Smith in 2018. And since then he's really continued to push out a variety of different albums, often being influenced by different genres, different styles, and really playing with a lot of different elements, from alt-rock to industrial rock, and kind of taking inspiration from grunge, rap, and a variety of others. And this song was the first single to be released from the upcoming album Nightvision, which comes out at the beginning of June. We've had actually 4 other singles that have followed on from this particular track, and this one certainly was very interesting upon its release. So will this be a track worth swallowing, or simply just something that leaves a very bad taste in your mouth? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds. This is actually a song that does heavily revolve around this idea of a near future, this dystopian future where we see tormented individuals trying to escape into a different world, trying to avoid the current world in which they live. But this song kind of wants to delve into the idea of when that digital world starts to impact your vision of reality. So we're going to be seeing that through a variety of different lyrics that are going to be shown. It feels alive, but nothing comes. It's almost like you try and find a new sense of purpose in this digital world, but nothing comes. It gradually fades away. This mirage, this illusion of being this other world just doesn't quite work. It feeds at night, eats your pain. It's almost like you're just being absorbed, or you're kind of being whittled away almost, withered away I should say, by these different things that are going on in your life. Here's my heart, dreaming of falling. Watch as I drown, screaming of falling. It's hard to stand when I see through your eyes. Too far to gone, you died here a million times. This world will spit you I love how we've got these grungy guitars, very inspired by Nirvana, Bush, a variety of different acts, and it's something that he has always done, Brandon Smith. He's always played with lots of different sounds, whether it be going into industrial rock. You're certainly seeing the more grungy elements on this particular track. Even though the album as a whole is going to take in much more alt-rock style, it's great to see that he's kind of drawing inspiration from lots of different sounds, producers. He really is just like a musical dreamcoat. He can really just tie his hands to whatever he wants to and really just play with lots of different styles and make a track that sounds very, very strong. And the lyrics continue to build on this idea we did see in the first couple of verses, the idea of dreaming of falling. It's hard to stand when I see through it. So you're almost watching this person fall apart in front of you and really try and hide themselves. This idea of too far, too gone. You've kind of been just digitized into this digital world. You've kind of switched off from reality. This idea of you've died here a million times. This idea of when you're in a video game or something like that and you constantly fail at the same point and you constantly get killed and restart, and we're seeing that shown through this idea of this world is eventually going to spit you out, this digital world. You can't live here forever because it will spit you back into reality. It breeds to fight, it shakes you up, lies away, it feels alright, it drinks your tears, plays your fears. And one thing I love with this verse that we just had, it breeds to fight, it shakes you up. You don't know what this is. It's the fact that you are almost detached from your own heart by referencing to it just as it instead of a heart. Instead of the heart breeds to fight, it's just it. It's this thing that just is detached from your body despite it being a major organ within you. So I love how it's the idea shown through the lyrics of disassociation from kind of your own feelings, from your own body almost. And I think that's a really smart thing that's actually been thrown into the lyrics, because it just emphasizes that idea of going into this digital world where nothing's real almost. So I think it's just the fact that it's repeated this constant it 4 times in the same verse is really smart, especially when it's kind of this idea of eventually realizing that it is your heart. You don't feel that connection between the two until that next line, wait, that's my heart. You suddenly have clocked on to what's actually going on.
It's hard to stand when I see through your eyes. Too far to gone, you've died here a million times. It's hard to breathe when I see through the lies. Too far to gone, now I'm tranquilized.
And one thing I love with this actual track is the way that we kind of have these grungy guitars that really give it a lot of power, a lot of emphasis, especially with the kind of slightly more aggressive styling on the vocals. But I love how he keeps in a lot of these electronic sounds to really build these big walls of sound, really make the song feel much bigger than it actually is. And that's something he really wanted to do, mix his own style with that grungy alt-rock sound that we have got being brought in from the guitars to really amplify the levels and the walls of this song. I'm certainly very, very interested to hear this album, and certainly in its entirety when it is released at the beginning of June. And I think it's a really strong intro track for many of the singles that we'd have got to kind of precede this particular single and hear afterwards. But certainly one of the heavier tracks I do feel that is going to be on the upcoming album. I love some of the elements in this idea of detaching from reality, trying to escape to this digital world, escape from the world, but then this kind of starts to bleed. The two realities begin to try and bleed together. So I really think it's an interesting element with the advances in technology that he's been able to explore, and it's something he's done throughout pretty much the large majority of the past 6 years that he has been working sort of more so as a solo artist, or certainly a solo producer. And I just love some of the lyrics, especially that idea of the being detached from the heart, really emphasizing this idea of being detached from your own body, and a constant change up in sound as well. We see this between every single album that is put out, whichever album you look at from 2018 onwards. Basically there's this constant change in sound, constantly playing with new ideas and trying something new. It stops the albums from sounding too similar, and certainly adds a lot of variety to him as a producer and a performer. So that'll be everything for today's video, but as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. If you've never heard of the Anix before, there's a variety of different albums you can choose to check out in Shadow Movement, Graphite, Revenge, or even some of their earlier works from when they were still a band in the form of Sleepwalker, which is a very, very strong album with some really strong hits on there. Just have a walk through the discography of the band, or certainly for Brandon, and just see all the work that's been produced over the years. There's certainly a real variety and something for absolutely everybody, it does feel, with the amount of styles that they've explored over the years. And as always, if you want to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.